Everyone refused to save the paralyzed alien warrior, except this human soldier. The acrid stench of plasma discharge and burning metal filled the air as Brian Carter picked his way there through the wreckage of what had once been the forward command post. His combat boots crunched over spent shell casings and fragments of destroyed combat mechs, the sound echoing in the eerie silence that followed the massive battle. "Fucking hell, here to your nige. I want to then come," he muttered, adjusting the strap of his Mark 7 plasma rifle. The weapon's power cell hummed reassuringly against his shoulder, one of the few familiar comforts in this wasteland of destruction. His tactical display showed nothing but static. The enemy's final assault had taken out most of their communication systems. The battle had been brutal. The Drachnid forces had hit them hard and fast, overwhelming their defenses with sheer numbers. Now, as far as Brian could tell, he was the only survivor from his unit, the 23rd Marine Combat Division, reduced to a single soldier. His combat suit's environmental sensors picked up movement ahead. Brian dropped into a crouch, his augmented muscles tensing as he raised his rifle. Through the settling dust and smoke, he caught a glimpse of something that made his breath catch. A female figure lay half buried under debris, her silvery hair spread out like a metallic fan against the dark ground. Her skin had an otherworldly lavender-gray hue. A Lysarian warrior, one of humanity's strongest allies in the war against the Drachnids. Brian approached cautiously, his tactical training warring with his instinct to help. The Lysarian wore what looked like a modernized version of ancient warrior garb, now torn and stained with phosphorescent blood. Her eyes fluttered open as he neared, revealing irises the color of storm clouds. "Don't move," he said, kneeling beside her. "I'm Sergeant Brian Carter, Earth Marine Corps." Kira Valanis," she managed, her voice carrying a melodic accent despite her obvious pain. "3rd Strike Force. Can't feel my legs." Brian's medical scanner confirmed his fears. Her spine was severely damaged. I hit in the middle of a hot zone with enemy forces potentially regrouping. She was as good as dead. Military protocol was clear. In retreat situations, immobile casualties were to be left behind. "It's just, leave me," she said, reading his expression. "Others must have survived. Save yourself." Brian looked at her, then at his tactical display showing multiple bogies approaching from the north. The smart play was to run. The logical choice was to leave her. But something in him rebelled against the idea. "Like hell," he growled, already working to free her from the debris. "I didn't survive this shit show just to leave someone behind." A ghost of a smile crossed her face. Stubborn human. "You haven't seen stubborn yet, sweetheart." He managed to lift her carefully, noting how her combat suit, despite its revealing design, was made of advanced materials that helped stabilize her injuries. "This might hurt a bit." "I've had worse," she said, then gasped as he adjusted his grip. "Though perhaps not recently." Brian grinned despite the situation. "Hold tight. We're about to make an extremely unauthorized withdrawal from this party." Brian moved swiftly through the rubble-strewn battlefield, his enhanced muscles barely registering Kira's weight. The Lysarian warrior had fallen silent, but her steady breathing against his neck told him she was conscious, monitoring their surroundings with keen alien senses. "Your heart rate is remarkably steady for someone carrying dead weight through a war zone," she murmured, her breath tickling his ear. "Marine training, sweetheart. Though I've got to admit, you're the most attractive cargo I've ever hauled." Her soft chuckle sent an unexpected shiver down his spine. "Flirting while evading death? How delightfully human." "What can I say? I mean multitasker." Brian paused behind a destroyed mech, checking his tactical display. 3 bogies, 2 o'clock, and any insights on Drac patrol patterns? "They hunt in triangular formations," Kira whispered, her fingers unconsciously tightening on his shoulder. "The visible ones are bait. Watch for flankers." Brian nodded, appreciating both her tactical knowledge and the way her body pressed against his as she shifted to get a better view. "Focused Marine," he chided himself. "Got any other tricks up that stylish combat suit of yours?" "Several." Her voice took on a playful tone despite their situation. "Though I'm curious what made you notice my outfit in particular." "Professional interest only, of course." He grinned, carefully maneuvering around a smoking crater. The tactical advantages of your armor design are quite striking. Of course, she purred. Just as I'm admiring your combat suit's capabilities purely from a military perspective, their banter was interrupted by the distinctive line of drachnid energy weapons charging up. Brian dove behind a fallen pillar, twisting to shield Kira with his body as plasma bolts seared the air where they'd been standing. "Well, this is cozy," Kira commented, her face inches from his. "Comfortable?" Brian asked, already calculating escape routes. "Quite." Her silver hair brushed his cheek as she turned to survey their situation. "Though I prefer my intimate encounters with less plasma fire involved." Noted for future reference. Brian risked a peek over their cover. "I count 5 hostiles now. Any suggestions?" Kira's eyes gleam with warrior intelligence. "Their armor has a weak spot at the junction between shoulder and neck. One precise shot, and boom," Brian finished. "I like the way you think." He shifted position, keeping Kira secure while bringing his rifle to bear. The first shot caught a drachnid warrior perfectly in the vulnerable spot Kira had identified, causing its armor to catastrophically fail. The resulting explosion took out 2 of its companions. "Impressive shooting," Kira breathed, her admiration evident. "Impressive intel," Brian countered, already moving to a new position. "We make a good team." They continued their deadly dance across the battlefield, Brian's strength and combat skills complementing Kira's tactical knowledge. Despite her paralysis, she proved invaluable, her keen senses warning him of threats his systems missed. As they cleared another sector, Kira suddenly tensed. "Brian, wait. Do you smell that?" He paused, his enhanced senses picking up what she'd noticed. "Fuel cells, lots of them." "There," she pointed to a partially collapsed structure. "That's a downed transport. Military grade. If it's one of ours, it might have a medical pod." Brian completed her thought. "Worth the risk." "I trust your judgment." The simple statement carried more weight than her previous flirtations. Brian studied her face, noting the pain she was trying to hide. "Then we check it out. But first," he adjusted his grip, pulling her closer. "More comfortable?" "Much." Her fingers traced a pattern on his armor. "Though I can think of several more comfortable positions. Save that thought for when we're not about to get shot at." Brian chuckled, moving toward the transport. The structure loomed before them, a testament to the battle's ferocity. As they approached, Brian's tactical display flickered with warning signals. "Company?" Kira asked, sensing his tension. "Oh yeah, looks like we're about to have ourselves a party." "Good thing you brought a date then." The downed transport's emergency lighting cast an ethereal blue glow across Kyra's silvery hair as Brian carefully maneuvered them through the wreckage. His tactical display showed multiple hostile signatures converging on their position, but the medical bay's beacon pulsed stronger with each step. "If this works," Kira whispered against his neck, "you realize the power surge will light us up like a supernova to every drachnid within 10 clicks. Then we'll have to make it count." Brian's fingers unconsciously traced a reassuring pattern on her side where he held her. "Besides, I've always wanted to throw a party." The medical bay's doors were partially melted, requiring Brian to shift Kira in his arms as he forced them open. The sight inside made both of them catch their breath. A fully functional Lysarian healing pod stood untouched amidst the destruction. "By the first light," Kira breathed, "that's not standard Alliance equipment. That's one of our sacred healing chambers." Brian raised an eyebrow. "Sacred as in really effective, or sacred as in might accidentally summon ancient gods?" "Both." Her storm gray eyes met his. "Our healing technology works by creating a temporary biological bond between patient and operator. It's intimate." "How intimate are we talking about?" Brian asked, already moving toward the pod. "Among my people, Using our healing chamber together is considered more binding than marriage. A faint purple blush colored her cheeks. The genetic resonance can have unexpected effects. Brian paused. Are you warning me or proposing? Her laugh was musical, despite their dire situation. Perhaps both. Though I should mention, there's a reason we don't usually share this technology with other species. The bond it creates, it's permanent. Outside, the sound of drac-headed search parties grew closer. Brian's tactical display showed they had minutes at most. Will it heal you? He asked directly. Yes, but then the rest is just details. He began activating the pod. I didn't carry you this far to stop because of some mystical alien marriage contract. Kira's expression softened. You continue to surprise me, human. Most would hesitate. Most didn't spend the last hour enjoying your combat commentary. The pod hummed to life as Brian placed her inside. Besides, I've always been a sucker for dangerous women in exotic armor. Charmer. She grabbed his hand before he could step back. But you need to understand. This will change both of us. The chamber doesn't just heal, it adapts, evolves. Our physiologies will align. You mean I might turn purple? Brian, I'm serious. So am I. He squeezed her hand. You're worth the risk. The chamber's crystal surface began to glow as Brian stepped inside, positioning himself according to Kira's instructions. Their bodies aligned, faces inches apart. Last chance to back out, she whispered. Now that chance, beautiful. He grinned. Though I do have one question. Does this make me your space husband? The chamber activated before she could respond, enveloping them in brilliant light. The sensation was unlike anything Brian had experienced. Like liquid fire flowing through his veins, but pleasant. He could feel Kira's essence merging with his own, their genetic codes dancing together in an ancient ritual older than both their species. Through their new connection, he felt her surprise at his unwavering acceptance, her admiration for his courage, and something deeper, more primal. In turn, she experienced his fierce protectiveness, his attraction to her warrior spirit, and his absolute commitment to their survival. The process lasted minutes that felt like eternities. When the light faded, Brian found himself staring into Kira's eyes that now held flecks of his own brown amidst their stormy gray. His skin tingled where it touched hers, a new sensitivity that he somehow knew would never fade. I can feel my legs, she whispered in wonder. Then her eyes widened. And I can feel you, all of you, your thoughts, your emotions. Oh, yeah, that's different. Brian helped her stand, noting how naturally their movements synchronized. Good different, though. An explosion rocked the transport, reminding them of their situation. Brian's tactical display showed enemies breaching the outer hall. But now he could also sense them through Kira's enhanced awareness. Ready to run? He asked, drawing his weapon. Kira stretched, testing her restored body, then gave him a predatory smile that sent shivers of anticipation through both of them. Ready to fight. Together. She reached for her fallen weapons, and Brian felt her muscle memory become part of his own. Suddenly, he knew exactly how to wield Lycerian energy blades. Now that's handy, he grinned, feeling her amusement echo through their bond. Any other surprises I should know about? Many. She moved to his side, their bodies naturally falling into perfect combat synchronization. Though perhaps we should discuss them after we eliminate these interruptions. Dale. Brian charged his rifle as Drachnid forces breached the medical bay doors. But I expect a full briefing on this whole space marriage thing later. Of course, yeah, my unexpected bondmaid. Kira's blade hummed to life. Assuming you can keep up with your new wife? The medical bay erupted into chaos as Drachnid forces poured through the breach. Brian and Kira moved as one, their newly formed bond transforming them into a lethal combat symphony. His plasma rifle complemented her energy blades perfectly, their movements synchronized with inhuman precision. "Left flank," Kira's thought reached him instantly, and Brian was already firing before she finished the mental warning. 3 draconids fell as her blade claimed 2 more. "They really should have brought more troops," Brian quipped, feeling Kira's amusement ripple through their connection. Clearly, they underestimated the effectiveness of human-Lycerian cooperation. Her blade danced through the air, leaving trails of light that matched the rhythm of his shots. Though I doubt anyone could have predicted this particular partnership, their shared consciousness enhanced every aspect of their combat prowess. Brian could anticipate Kira's moves before she made them, while she instinctively knew where his shots would land. They flowed around each other like water, each motion precise and devastating. "Behind you!" both warned simultaneously, then laughed as they spun in perfect harmony, eliminating threats on opposite sides. The remaining draconids hesitated, clearly unnerved by their opponent's unnatural coordination. That moment of uncertainty proved fatal, as Brian and Kira launched a synchronized assault that left no survivors. "Well," Brian breathed, lowering his rifle as the last enemy fell. "That was exhilarating," Kira finished, her eyes bright with battle fever. Through their bomb, he felt her blood singing with victory, her body humming with unspent energy that matched his own. The intensity of combat, combined with their mental connection, had created an intoxicating cocktail of adrenaline and shared emotion. Brian felt Kira's desire crash over him like a wave, amplified by his own growing passion. "We should," he started, but Kira was already moving toward him, her silver hair floating around her like a celestial corona. "Yes, we should," she agreed, their bond transmitting everything words couldn't express. "The healing chamber didn't just merge our minds, Brian. Our bodies are perfectly compatible now. Every sensation, is shared," he finished, pulling her close. "I can feel everything you feel." "Then feel this." Her lips found his, and the world exploded at his sensation. Their bond magnified every touch, creating feedback loops of pleasure that threatened to overwhelm them both. Time lost all meaning as they gave in to their passion, their merged consciousness making everything more intense, more profound. Every caress, every kiss was experienced twice over, their pleasure building and reflecting between them like light between mirrors. Hours later, they lay entwined in a secure corner of the medical bay, their tactical gear scattered around them. Brian traced patterns on Kira's lavender skin, marveling at how the simple touch sent echoes of pleasure through their bond. "That was," he searched for words. "Unprecedented," Kira suggested, her mental touch full of satisfied amusement, knowing, even among my people, the healing chamber's effects are usually more subtle. "Must be my irresistible human charm." She laughed, the sound like music in both his ears and mine. "More likely it's your stubborn human determination. You didn't just accept the bond, you embraced it completely. No hesitation, no reservations." "Why would I hesitate?" He pulled her closer, their bodies fitting together perfectly. "You're the most amazing woman I've ever met, human or alien." Through their connection, he felt her happiness at his words, but also a trace of concern. "Brian, there's something you should know about Lycerian biology and this bond we've created." "Let me guess, more surprises?" "You could say that." She propped herself up on one elbow, her silver hair cascading over her shoulder. "When we joined, it wasn't just physical. The healing chamber's effects, combined with our compatibility." She paused, searching for words. "Among my people, such a deep bond often leads to—" A distant explosion interrupted her revelation. Their tactical awareness, heightened by their connection, immediately identified multiple new threats approaching. "Tell me later," Brian suggested, already reaching for his gear. Later, she agreed, moving with fluid grace as she retrieved her weapons. Though you might want to prepare yourself for some interesting news about Lycarian reproduction. Brian paused in the middle of it, checking his rifle. Wait, what? Kira gave them a mysterious smile, both physical and mental. Let's survive this first, my unexpected bondmate. Then we can discuss how human Lycarian genetics might interact under these unique circumstances. Through their shared consciousness, Brian felt the exact moment Kira confirmed what their bond had already whispered to them both. Her hand rested on her abdomen as they crouched behind cover, enemy fire screaming overhead. So, Brian said, squeezing off a perfect shot that dropped a Drachnid scout. I'm going to be a father. Kira's blade deflected an energy bolt back at its center. You don't seem surprised. After everything else today, finding out I'm having a half-human, half-Lycarian baby with my alien warrior wife seems pretty on brand. He grinned, feeling her amusement ripple through their connection. Though I admit the speed is impressive, the healing chamber accelerated everything. Kira moved with deadly grace, her combat style already adapting to protect her midsection. Lycarian pregnancies are typically quick, but with our enhanced bond. She paused to eliminate 2 more enemies. We're in uncharted territory. Brian's tactical display highlighted their extraction point, a hidden Alliance bunker 3 kilometers away. Then let's get to safety before Junior here decides to make things more interesting. Their shared consciousness made planning unnecessary. They moved as one unit, covering each other with practiced precision,